Hi everyone, welcome to FTT. I thought I'd just do a sort of a 20,000 kilometre review on my 2015 Audi SQ5. It's the 3-litre bi-turbo diesel. As I said, I've had it for about 20,000 kilometres now, and I've got to know the car very, very well. It's the 8-speed automatic, 320-ish horsepower, I think. So plenty of grunt, twin turbo, got the 21-inch wheel option with the red calipers, got the diamond stitch, the leather binnacle cover on the dashboard, Bang & Olufsen stereo system. What else has it got? Drive select, a few other bits and pieces, Sepang blue with a panoramic sunroof. Always wanted one of these, and we moved to Australia a couple of years ago, and I was lucky enough to be able to pick one of these up relatively cheap. It had 60,000 kilometres on it from new with one owner, so very well looked after when we got it, and obviously I've looked after it from there. Had a few issues, to be honest. The EGR cooler failed, which was done under warranty. The speakers in the exhaust failed, but they all do that, as I'm sure you're aware if you're watching a review on one of these cars anyway. Other than that, it's been trouble-free motoring, to be honest. It's an absolute beautiful car to drive, super smooth, super quiet, not particularly expensive to run. I can just about squeeze 1,000 kilometres out of one tank of diesel, which costs here in Queensland about $127 currently to fill, but fuel prices are all over the shop. But yeah, if you drive it reasonable, you can get about 1,000 kilometres. Obviously, if you chuck it in sport mode and drive it a lot, you're down to sort of 700 kilometres, 750. But hey, it's a 3-litre diesel with 320-ish horsepower, so that's pretty damn good as far as I'm concerned. Just talk about the stereo, Bang & Olufsen. Always thought, oh yeah, I definitely want one with Bang & Olufsen. It's not actually that much better than the standard ones. I've had quite a few Audis over the years, and there's no noticeable difference. So if I was to spec this car new, I probably wouldn't be ticking the option box for the Bang & Olufsen. I don't feel it's that much better to warrant the price. I'd probably spend the money upgrading the component speakers at a later date with some aftermarket ones, to be honest, and take it to a specialist if I was to do that. Obviously this one's got the diamond stitch seats on. I'm not sure if you can see that because I'm sat in it, but that's a really nice option, just stands out from some of the standard cars. Very, very comfortable. This one's got the electric driver's seat memory function, super comfortable on long journeys. It's got the extendable base, which means if you've got long legs like me, I'm just around 6 foot, I can extend the seat base to just behind my knees, and it just makes long distance driving very, very comfortable. So yeah, really nice, comfortable car, good for commuting. The only issue is in a lot of traffic, if you stop start, the gearbox and the brakes are just a bit tiresome, to be honest. It doesn't know whether it wants first or second gear, and when you stop start, the brakes, they're a little bit numb. You do have to give it quite a big press for it to actually engage. So if you're rocking up to a bit of traffic, slowly pressing the pedal, you don't get a lot of bite on these brakes, and you do have to push a little bit harder, and then all of a sudden the heat kicks in and bang, you're starting to throw yourself through the windscreen. So a little bit snatchy on the brakes. Could be down to the pads that are currently in it, but they're just standard Audi pads as far as I'm aware. So that's absolutely fantastic. General car. Brakes not so clever. The gearbox in just normal driving mode, it's a little bit lazy for my liking. There's lots of companies out there do the TCU tuning, so obviously you can get the transmission control unit tuned to be a little bit sportier, whereas it's sort of, you're coming up to a junction, it's lazy down the gears, because obviously it's all programmed for fuel consumption and emissions and all that kind of stuff, so it's a little bit lazy, and you might find yourself pulling away in second or third. Usually it starts to pull away, and if you want to go for a gap, it's slightly lazy on the kick down. Put it into sport mode, different animal altogether. It's quick, it's sharp, it's very responsive, usually gets in the right gear, but let's say you're coming up to a left-hander on an A road, and you're driving quite spiritedly, let's say, it sort of wants to go around the corner in fourth, whereas I'd be in third possibly even second depending on the speed. So you turn into the corner, the turbo's already stalling because the revs aren't high enough. You then come to accelerate out of the turn, you know, down the next road, and it sort of bogs down a little bit, and it needs sort of half a second for those turbos to spool back in and give you that 300 horsepower that you want. So depending on your driving, normal road, stick it in drive. Spirited drive, obviously sport mode's fantastic. If you do like to pedal a car quite hard on the back roads, stick it in manual. This gearbox is phenomenal. I think it's the 8 HP unit. If you stick this in manual mode and use the flappy paddles, my goodness me, it makes a massive difference. It's responsive, it's quick, it changes so you know, quickly compared to even in sport mode. You hold the gears where you want. It naturally, your fingers just go for the revs naturally. You know, if you're in tune with your engine, your suspension and everything, it just wallops along the road beautifully. There's that much torque on this 3 litre bi-turbo. It's a beautifully mated system. As I say, this car could probably do with a TCU tune, and even possibly an ECU tune just to tweak that power up a little bit. It's not the Plus model, so it's not the super high horsepower model, but it's plenty for this chassis. The suspension on this, it's got drive select, so it's got dynamic mode and things like that, but there's no DRC on this car, so no Magna Ride or anything like that. It's just stock suspension, slightly lower than the standard Q5, but you can't chuck it around that much. Let's say it's a little bit wobbly. It is an SUV, for God's sake, so you know, it's not an RS4 or a RS6 or anything like that, so but you can have a lot of fun on roundabouts. It does kind of squirm a little bit. The steering's not quite as direct. I think it's electric steering on this. I do miss the old days where you've got the old hydraulic pumps spinning around. You used to get a lot more feel on the steering, whereas these electronic units, a little bit numb. A lot of people don't like them. It's absolutely fine for normal driving, but if you're off out on the back roads and you have a bit of fun, it can just feel a little bit numb. That's a minor thing, you know. You don't buy an SUV like this as a sports car. It's a mini people mover, so that's what you want it for, moving people around. Getting on to moving people around, you can easily get 5 adults in this car, easily. There's loads of room. Lots of head height above me. There's probably 150mm above my head. As I said, I'm 6 foot. I don't even have the seat to the bottom or the top, it's somewhere in between. And yeah, plenty of back seat space. The back seats you can configure with a backrest, front, back, move the seat bases forward and backwards, fold the whole back seats down so you've got a flat floor. So loading wise, it's pretty good. I've had no problems loading stuff in the back, so that's quite a good feature. Happy with that. So yeah, generally it's a really nice car. Hasn't particularly cost me much to run. Haven't had to put any tyres on it. Doesn't seem to scrub tyres like some other Audis I've had. Maybe because the sidewalls are a bit taller and you've got a little bit more give on the sidewall there, so you don't tend to scrub the corners off. You know, I'm sort of going down a little back road here, not breaking the speed limit just yet, just cruising along nicely, and we're getting to a couple of twisty sections now. And yeah, you can just apply the throttle through the bends, and it just pulls so nicely. It's not noisy. As I said, I've got standard exhaust on this, so there's no modification to the exhaust. It's quiet. You do get a nice little burble from the exhaust, but not too obnoxious, obviously. So yeah, all in all, generally good car. Bad points, things I really just don't like, which are pointless. Whether it's just because I live in Australia, in Queensland, where it's red hot. Panoramic sunroof, what a waste of time. It's a massive piece of glass, just superheats the car. Obviously it's got the sunshade on it, the retractable sunshade, but I've never once used it, never will use it. It just happened to come with the car. I couldn't find one without, so, but why on earth Audi import these cars with a panoramic sunroof in, I have absolutely no idea. It just seems a waste of money, a waste of an option, spending money on something else. Another little stupid idea is sunglasses holders under the rear view mirror these days. They haven't changed size since I was 20, so, you know, late 90s, they're still the same bloody size. You cannot fit a standard set of Oakleys. These are not massive Oakleys, by the way. They just don't fit. So if you wear wraparound glasses that are even reasonably shaped to go over your eye, they don't fit. Waste of time. You end up chucking them in the door bin. So I just think, again, why waste your money, Audi, putting something like that in? It's not usable, no one can fit what they want to fit in it. Just don't bother fitting it anymore. Upgrade something else for your customers. Yeah, general build quality, let's move on to that. Interior on this car is phenomenal. You know, you've got a really nice soft materials everywhere. You can probably hear the brakes squeaking there. They're a bit hot because I've just been dragging them slightly. But yeah, interior quality is really nice. I've got the carbon inlay pack on this car. You don't get any rattles. Obviously it's an Audi. It would have been probably high 90s, early 100,000 when this car was new. That's obviously Australian dollars. Back in Europe, I think they're in the 60s, £60,000, something like that. Audi build quality is fantastic. I'm probably on my 4th or 5th Audi now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6th, 7th Audi actually. And every single one I've ever had has been absolutely fantastic. So kudos to Audi. They're well renowned for their materials, the leathers, the dashboard plastics, they're nice and soft. Flat bottom steering wheel on this particular one. So yeah, well done Audi. Good interiors. Again, like I said, seats are good quality. So yeah, thoroughly happy with the car. There's one ridiculous thing I have to mention about this car. It's the A-pillar. So to my right now, obviously you can't see it because the camera's facing me, but the A-pillar here with the speaker just behind where the side view mirror is, and the bloody size of the driver's mirror, it's huge. So when you've got the mirror, you've then got the speaker enclosure and the A-pillar, you've got a massive blind spot. I'm forever doing this, you know, spirited driving, you're having a little look, or even in car parks, you're looking for the curb, you can't see it, it's absolutely massive. Obviously the newer ones, I think they've repositioned them, so yeah, they've probably had some other customer feedback about that, but just something to look out for if you are going to buy one of these slightly older models. I think these finished in 2017 or 18. It is a pain in the neck, and just try and get your seat in position as best you can so that you've got decent visibility in this sort of area. It's the same on the passenger side, to be honest. Bit of a blind spot. Rear view out the back, you've got really good view for parking manoeuvrability. I've got no issues with that. It's got a good rear view camera. It doesn't have a 360 on this one because it's too old. Parking sensors front and rear, that's really good. Radar guided cruise control, that's a great addition. One stupid feature is this automatic braking. Obviously it's pre-sense on the crash. It's probably my fault, I tend to maybe drive a little bit close to some people, but if you're coming up to a bend and the road goes up, and let's say to the left, because there's a road like that near me, if I'm coming up to that corner 60 kilometers an hour, so what's that, 45 miles an hour, the road goes up like that, it actually senses the road and goes, oh hang on, you're going to hit something, an object, and it emergency stops for you. It just whacks the brakes on really hard. Now if you've got people behind you, you just look like you're brake testing them, which you're not. So I found the only way to combat that is A, turn it off, which is probably not a good idea because it is good if you're going to have a crash and you're not concentrating, is just keep your foot in the throttle, because if you let off and it senses that road ahead, it just wants to brake for you, and it's really bloody annoying. And I think very dangerous. So whether it's oversensitive, it just senses obviously it's a big obstacle in front of you and I'm just going to brake to save your life. So good in one way, but in practicality when you're actually out there driving, it can't tell the difference between a stationary object or a road that's moving in front of you. My wife's Q2 does exactly the same when you're pulling off the drive. You're pulling down the drive to the road, it senses the road and thinks you're going to hit something, and it judders like mad on the ABS. So not just limited to the Q5, that's on the Q2 as well, and my wife's car is a 2018 model. So yeah, those are a few silly things about the car, but realistically, lovely car, great value for money here in Australia and in Europe. To be honest, to get to this age, you can probably pick them up for £12,000 to £15,000 in the UK. As I said, over here, I actually paid just over $40,000 for this, but it had low kilometres on it, it had all the options on it, so it was a very tidy car. So I paid a little bit over the odds, but I got a great warranty with it, and as it happened with the EGR cooler and everything failing, worth its weight in gold just to get that, because it was all fixed under warranty by the dealer. So shout out to Schultz Cars down on the Gold Coast, fantastic company to deal with if you're looking for a car in Brisbane or the Goldie. I can highly recommend speaking to Schultz. Oliver Roebuck was the guy I spoke to down there, couldn't do more for me, took my trade in. Great deal, great company to deal with. So that sort of wraps up a 20,000 kilometre review really. All in all, good car, really enjoy the car, don't particularly want to get rid of it. However, we are trading this in shortly for something quite special. I'll do a video on that when we get it. It should be interesting actually, there's not many about. Only 1,000 imported into Australia, very limited run. Not an Audi, it's a different manufacturer, but I won't spoil the surprise. I'll do another video on that one, quite excited. So yeah, this is probably going to be my last proper drive of the SQ5. I thought I'd keep this car, but I always think I'm going to keep my cars, and then every year I change them. So yeah, since I've been in Australia 18 months, I've had 3 cars already, and soon to be onto a 4th. So there we are. I'm just going to finish the video by pulling onto a really beautiful road out the back of Kawangaba, actually, in Queensland. It's in the northern side of Brisbane, so I'll just readjust the camera and pull on, basically. So it's this road. I'll drop it into sports mode, and sorry you can see my camera, but you know, you can pull away up here beautifully into sport mode. I'm motoring here, and that's it. I'm already up to the speed limit, so the cops are pretty on it up here, so you don't want to be caught speeding, because you will get plenty of demerit points and probably lose your car. But you know, look at the roads I get to drive on out here, absolutely epic. You are limited to 100 k's an hour in most places, unless you're on the motorway. It opens up to 110, so it's not particularly fast, but you do have some beautiful sweeping roads out here in sort of southeast Queensland, but northern Brisbane, and we get a lot of dry weather here. Obviously when it rains, it really rains, but this car's absolutely fantastic in the rain. But yeah, what a wonderful place to own a lovely car like this, and I'll bring you the next video on the new car when I get it. So thanks very much for watching. Any questions, stick it in the comments. Obviously I've had the car for a while, so I might be able to answer any queries or questions you've got. Thanks for watching the video, and take care. See you on the next one.